I've been using an iPhone XS going on 3 weeks now, ever since just after the Apple event at the Steve Jobs Theater. In that time, I've used it as my daily driver for communication, photography, videography, travel, reading, listening, watching, writing, pretty much everything I do with my phone every day. For the first week, that was all on the 5.8-inch iPhone XS proper. For the last 2 weeks, though, I've been alternating between the XS and the 6.5-inch XS Max. It's a big phone, but wow, it's a big phone. So now that I've had some more real-life quality time with both phones, I'm revisiting my review and taking a second look. I'm Rene Ritchie. Welcome back to Vector. It's so great to see you again. Let's do this. So Max really is Max in every sense of the word. Using it day in, day out, it totally feels more like a tiny tablet. It isn't only the size of the display, which at 6.5 inches is the biggest Apple has ever put into a phone. It's how that display goes edge to edge that makes it look and feel even more expansive. Like literally a none more display meme. It's no iPad mini replacement. That has, or had, depending on what Apple does or doesn't do with the product line, a 7.9-inch screen, but more importantly to a lot of the work that I do, a 4.3 aspect ratio, so I could see more lines of text, more rows of content in landscape. But I don't find myself using the Max in landscape unless I'm shooting or watching video, because it looks and feels so expansive already. Unlike iPhone Plus, there's no landscape view for the home screen, and the split view controllers aren't consistent in apps like Mail and Messages the way they were on the Plus. In Mail, you have to swipe to get the sidebar. In Messages, it's always there. Some people complain that you have to swipe. Other people complain they can't get the sidebar off their screen. Personally, I'd prefer landscape icons on the home screen so that when I do use it horizontally, I have a consistent horizontal experience. But the sidebars that I can swipe away, to me, are a huge benefit. They aren't just sitting there eating up screen space all the time. Because I'm sticking with portrait so much, the experience ends up being only a little bit better, but also a little bit less convenient than the regular sized iPhone XS. I can swipe down to reachability and then down again to get control center, but I kind of don't want to. I mean, all that stuff should be accessible from the bottom of the screen on big phones anyway. So going back to the iPad iOS 11 style mission control layout still makes all the sense in the world to me. Swipe up, get everything. Unlike the previous few years where I've stuck almost exclusively to the bigger iPhone, this year I find myself gravitating back more and more to the regular one. We'll see how that plays out over the next few weeks, but the 5.8-inch display really doesn't feel small, and the camera this year makes zero compromises. I spent the first few days shooting with Smart HDR off. I wanted to see what the new sensor on that new wide-angle camera could do, all on its own. And while it wasn't life-altering by any means, it was a solid iterative improvement, the kind we've come to expect. Turning Smart HDR on, though, was a much bigger deal. Smart HDR is Apple's name for the combination of neural networking and image signal processing the new A12 Bionic can do when you unleash it on that new camera system. Now, my criteria for judging any camera attached to a phone or not is whether it lets me get photos I simply never could before. With iPhone 7 Plus, the first dual camera system, it was an easy yes. The low-light performance was so much better than iPhone 6s that I could suddenly take photo walks in the night, something I couldn't really do before. iPhone XS is a little like that, but a lot different. Things like low light are better, but better in the way they're better every year. What's new is how much detail is being pulled out of the shadows and light. Photographer Austin Mann said it was so much he was having a hard time shooting silhouettes. Literally had a hard time shooting silhouettes, and I believe it. For me though, it's the focus in the action shots. Whether I'm moving quickly or my subject is, I'm getting less blur in less places, which directly translates into more usable photos more of the time. Now, where there has been some controversy is in the new pipeline. Almost everything is new this year, from some of the sensors through the silicon, the new Smart HDR, and all the artistic choices and tweaks Apple has made in the software. People who are used to the way iPhone photos used to look may not like it, or may take a while to get used to the changes. People who didn't like the way iPhone photos used to look may like them more now, or might like them even less. It's incredibly subjective. The biggest example is the hashtag smooth selfie complaints, where people are looking at the warmer, smoother skin tones produced on selfies and wondering if Apple is applying a secret beauty filter or something to the snaps. So I can tell you with a certainty, Apple is not. Part of that is the noise and banding have significantly been reduced with the iPhone XS camera and Smart HDR. So artifacts that looked like texture are gone, but real skin texture doesn't seem to have been preserved in its place. The way Apple has gone out of its way to preserve rope, brick, cloud, and other textures. Not that I want my face to look like brick and rope, but beggars can't really be choosers here, can they? Apple also seems to have biased the white balancing and tone mapping towards warming the skin tones, which has legitimately bothered some people as well. Again, a lot of the stuff is subjective, but here's where I land. Since there's no beauty mode, there's no on-off switch to be added, but I prefer the naturalness that Apple has spent years focusing on, even while other companies have done things like crushing the blacks and boosting the sat, or going the opposite way and providing just really cold, scientific results that kind of forgets the quirks and artistry of real photography. So even though I know some people like the new normal, I'm really hoping Smart HDR gets dialed back, gets iterated back towards the old natural. Because damn selfies, iPhone XS is killing it on the action and landscape shots. Up front, just as I started getting this re-review ready, there have been some reports of iPhone XS, iPhone XS Max, and even older iPhones and iPads on the new iOS 12 release not charging when they're being plugged in. Inductive wireless charging is fine. Being plugged in while they're awake, fine. Plugged in and then woken up, fine. But plugged in while the screen is off and kept off, no charge. I haven't been able to reproduce this, not on my review unit, not on the iPhone XS Max I bought, and not on any of the 10s, 8s, 7s, or iPads of mine or my friends that I could get a hold of. That absolutely does not mean there isn't an issue, just that I couldn't reproduce it or help troubleshoot it, which is all shades of frustrating in my line of work. Either way, my hunch is, 1, we'll see a bunch of theories from the savvy to the silly bandied about online, and so many videos. Always so many videos. But 2, whatever the issue, Apple will get a fix out ASAP. That's what always happens in the first couple weeks of any new phone release. As to battery life in general, I use my iPhone a lot. Like a lot. And the apps I use, from Twitter to Instagram to Facebook to Messenger, because kill me, I have friends who only use Facebook Messenger, to Pokemon Go to AR, are absolutely brutal on the battery. They push a ton of media, not just photos, but videos. They hit GPS a lot, GPU a lot. The screen stays lit up the whole time, of course. So it's nice that Apple spins dedicated encode and decode blocks into the silicon. And it definitely helps when I shoot video or watch iTunes. But social and games still slam everything they can, as often as they can. Hard. That said, battery life on the XS has been good, and on the XS Max, great. Yeah, it's a fresh battery, but I didn't do a clean install. I kept all the cruft of my last year or two when I restored from backup. Now, normally I top up throughout the day. I have a charge pad next to my desk and a cable in my car, but I've deliberately not done that a few times over the last few weeks, and XS has still managed to last into the night, and XS Max overnight and into the next day on the several occasions I didn't really get to go to sleep. So I still really wish Apple wouldn't keep battery life constant and continue to slim down the batteries, but keep the batteries constant and continually improve battery life. But I gotta say, they're delivering with these. There's a lot more to iPhone XS and XS Max, including everything that's going on with AR and shortcuts, and I'll have a lot more to say about all of those things in coming weeks and months. These are living reviews for me, and my hope is everyone learns at least something new every time they watch. And that includes me, which is why Skillshare is so awesome. It's an online learning community with over 20,000 classes in video, audio, design, technology, business, all the things that are essential to what I do every day, and I'm guessing what you do or want to do as well. Premium membership gives you unlimited access to high-quality classes on must-know topics so you can get better at your job, get a better job, or just find something to do that is not your job. To sign up, visit the link in the description and get 2 months of unlimited access to over 20,000 classes, again, for free. Act now for the special offer and start learning today. So those are my impressions after about 3 weeks of using the iPhone XS and 2 weeks of using the iPhone XS Max. Yeah, there are some issues, just like there always are at launch, and Apple absolutely has to jump on those, just like it always does at launch. But overall, everything from the camera to the processor, the screen to the speakers. Oh my, those speakers, I haven't spoken enough about those speakers. You can literally hear the Millennium Falcon fly from one side to the other. I'm guessing it's the same team that works on HomePod audio, but damn, it sounds amazing. And there is, like I said, so much more to discuss. But that's where I'm going to end it for me. Now I want to turn it over to you. If you've been using the iPhone XS or the iPhone XS Max for the last couple of weeks, let me know what you think. And if you haven't been using them, let me know what's holding you back. Hit like, hit subscribe, and then hit up the comments below. And thank you so much for watching.